Good morning to all the respected dignitaries, all the jury members, and all of my dear friends present here. I consider this an honor and privilege to be given the opportunity to talk on the finals of the ICT Youth Talk Telangana. And I hope that these few minutes that have been given to me are not just for my benefits, but are actually going to be a learning in your lives, and there'll be a few statements that you can embed on your heart. So, I'm Reuben Solomon, and my ID number reads YTS20495. You might be wondering, why is he talking about his ID? Well, I see 5 numbers that are missing from my ID. Those are 1, 3, 6, 7, and 8. And to select one amongst those numbers, I'd probably go for the number 6, because that is my favorite number. I'm going to talk about something which is going to relate with all of us. How many of you here use the Google Maps app? Most of us, right? So there are 2 options in that. You mention your current location and your destination. Further, it shows you your directions as to how you want to reach there. But there's also another option to your bottom left, if I'm not wrong, that says recenter. That is going to be my theme for today, recenter. And I'm going to talk about 6 quintessential attributes that we as humans often tend to neglect because we are so lost in these worldly desires, in these goals that we want. I'm not saying that goals are wrong, but we usually forget a few things that represent certain acts of humanity. Talking about my first 2 attributes, they go as a pair. The first being the mask, and second being judging. We often carry around with us our phone, our wallet, wherever we go, right? But there's also another thing that we carry around with us. You know what that is? That is the mask. This mask, we always wear it when there are people around us. But when there's no one around, it's back in our pocket. There's a statement that holds very close to my heart that says, God loves you for who you are and not who you pretend to be. What do you do when you look at a person for the first time? You judge. You see a few flaws that person has, and then you feel happy about it, and you hope that you don't have those flaws in you. You often tend to compare with others. These 2 attributes, if done in the wrong way, are going to play like an evil thought. Moving on to my 3rd attribute is comparison. This is very common in India, to be honest. Let's take a very good example. Consider the good old Indian household, okay? Let's take a very cute family. You, your mom, and dad. You're in your 10th grade, so the 10th exams happen to come. You prepared very hard, and on the day of the result, you end up scoring a solid 96.7%, which you and your parents are initially very happy about. And then when you're about to, have sweets and have a good time, your arch nemesis, your arch enemy, Mrs. Sharmaji, your friend's mom shows up at your doorstep, and she goes, knock, knock, knock. You with a happy smile, not knowing who's at the doorstep, you go to the door, you open the door, you see Mrs. Sharmaji, and your smile turns 180 degrees downwards. You hope that she's not gonna say what you think she's going to say. She asks you, how much did you score? And you go, Auntie, I scored 93.7%. And she goes, oh, that's very good. Congratulations. But actually, my son scored 98%. Well, your parents over there now hesitantly smile because your friend scored more than you. Why does it have to be so? She offers you sweets, Mrs. Sharmaji, and they obviously taste bitter because of what happened. This is very common amongst us. You have a goal, but we often tend to compare with everyone we see. Why does it have to be so? Comparison literally acts like a barricade between you and your goal. It doesn't matter if you're rich, you're poor, you're sick, or healthy. You don't have to compare. Have your goal and go towards it, and I'm sure that you will succeed. Moving to my 4th and 5th attributes, these also go as a pair, are attitude and kindness. Now these are game-changing attributes, and I'll tell you why. Consider you're in the metro and there's a stranger beside you who looks all distressed, sad, and anxious. You go to him with a kind heart, try empathizing with him and being gentle towards him, and you giving positive thoughts and towards him, and you giving positive thoughts and positive points to him is eventually going to end up changing his life forever. Let's take an example. In times of hatred, when you show love, it's going to change the whole atmosphere around you. These two attributes change the atmosphere, they change the vibe. In times of sorrow, when you show happiness, people are going to look at you and say, oh my God, how is he staying so happy in times of sadness? That is what needs to be in you. And moving to my sixth and final attribute is planning. Yes, we all have plans, we all have goals. Let me give you an example. At Yale University, there was a research where researchers asked students as to what they wanted to do and whether they had any idea as to what they wanted to become. 80% of the students said, well, we're just here for the degree and we don't really know what we want to become. Another 17% said, well, we have a vague idea as to what we want to become, but not really sure what we want to do. Another 3% said, the last 3% said, that they had a plan and that they knew what they wanted to do. Fast forward a few years, the 80% that said that they didn't know what they were doing ended up in jobs nowhere related to what they wanted to, nowhere related to what they studied. The other 17% did end up in jobs regarding to their course, but weren't really happy with what they were doing. The last 3% that had a plan ended up in jobs and positions that they wanted to and ended up earning way more than what they thought they would. Moral of the story here is that having a goal is important in our lives. Most of us tend to, blame, tend to have excuses. Example, in India, most of us engineers or any student, we often tend to find excuses. Oh well, my parents forced me to do engineering, my parents forced me to do that, to do this and whatever. But what we forget is that we need to have a perspective of positivity. Knowing the situation that you are in, you need to find interest in whatever it is. When you have no other option, you need to find interest in what you're doing, and I'm sure that you will succeed. And I would like to end all of this in a very good quote that says, if you don't go after what you want, you'll never have it. If you don't ask a question, the answer will always be no. And if you don't take a step forward, you'll always stay at the same place. Thank you.